Hello, fellow explorers, and welcome to this pre-departure webinar to prepare you for this incredible voyage or voyages to East Greenland, a really unique area of the world that very few people get a chance to visit. So very excited to be able to talk to you and prepare you for this trip. I'm joined, as usual, by Karen, who's in Norway, and Verena, our chief scientist who lives in Switzerland, and myself in a very hot and sweltering Wales. So I think on behalf of all of us, apologies if we have a bit of brain fog. The heat is affecting us. We prefer the polar regions, but here we are, sweating it out. In this
Only you two.
only, yeah, exactly. Not in Norway. You're safe in
Uh,
Norway.
oh my God.
On one day a year, maybe. Um, in this webinar, we'll aim to go through a short introduction, make sure we tell you what to pack about the wildlife and the science and education, introduction to the destination, and also make sure we get the practical information. Many of you will have sailed with us before, so you're very much aware that all our trips have that mix of adventure, the comfort of the ships, and also that engagement with the science and education program, fulfilling and feeding your curiosity for the destinations. This year is a special year for us, celebrating our 130th year, where we first sailed from mainland Norway up to Svalbard. And combining those different elements of the curious travelers and that making sure a trip with a purpose and meaning. Just to get us going, we're going to show a short Greenlandic video. There are some bits from West Greenland, but it does really give you a flavor for the place. So we're just going to get going with this one.
I've always been chasing that sense of wonder. On this trip to Greenland, I finally got that.
To visit local people here in Greenland, to get a glimpse into their lives, share thoughts, laughs, and food. It was really quite wonderful.
The icebergs are so big that you don't realize it when you're seeing them from a distance, and then when you are next to them, it's truly spectacular. Oh, there's a fin right there!
Yeah, that was a tail. Nice.
The natural beauty is amazing. It's life-changing, I think. Wow.
I have to pinch myself that I actually got to experience this.
Amazing. And those of you that are sharp-eyed will have noticed that the ship in there was Nansen, and the voyages we're talking about are going on Spitsbergen and Fram. But it does really give a little feel for Greenland. So yeah, we were keen to set the scene. The trips we're talking about, as I mentioned, are on Spitsbergen and Fram, and we have two departure points. So we're going to just go through a little bit about the practicalities of getting to the ship. But we have this special solar eclipse voyage, which we're departing on the 5th of August, aiming and hoping to see the solar eclipse on the 14th, but also these other sailings. So that's where we're covering. As we mentioned, our beautiful ship, MS Spitsbergen, and also MS Fram. So our two smaller ships, which really enable us to get into these deep fjord systems and really enjoy the wonders of East Greenland. Excuse me. Just to kind of reiterate what we're saying in this this webinar, it really backs up the information which you will get in your travel documents and also the final expedition itinerary. So very much this is a backup for that information. But of course, receiving information in many different ways helps. So no problem at all with repetition and doing that. For those of you that are flying from Oslo, that we always get questions from you about in terms of luggage allowance. But as normal, one main checked-in piece at 23 kilos, and then also one carry-on up to 8 kilos. So those are the main parts for those traveling from there. But we're going to go a bit more into detail on those departure points. But firstly, there's kind of easy one is Reykjavik, where you're making your way to Reykjavik and then joining the ship. The embarkation time for the ship is planned, and again, planned. These voyages are a few months away, so we're planning on the current situation. Embarkation is planned between 3 and 6 p.m., 15 to 1800, and the ship is planned to depart at 8 p.m., 2000. This can change, so please make sure you read your voyage documentation. When we come back to Reykjavik, we aim to be alongside at 7 in the morning. So, and then the expedition team on board towards the end of the voyage will introduce you to the disembarkation process in terms of timings, in terms of all those type of things. So please, the disembarkation process will be when you're on board. But Reykjavik itself is a fantastic gateway port and importance. Verena, just to give me a water break. What's your top tip for our guests in Reykjavik?
Well, since all of our guests departing for these particular trips from Reykjavik will be heading to Greenland, it is the perfect place to start. You need to make your way up to the cathedral and see the statue of Eric the Red there, who is the first Viking that has who established a permanent settlement in Greenland around the 900s. So it is a very good introduction to the Norwegian footprint in Greenland. But Karin, you are the Viking queen. Do you want to add more?
No, you're absolutely right. But then again, we kind of came and left. So, but it's a fantastic link. So you can see where modern human interacts, because I mean there have been the Thule culture and people in Greenland for many thousands of years, and they're the one who lasted. We kind of didn't last in Greenland, but fantastic link between Greenland and Iceland there.
Fantastic. And then the other part, those sailings departing from Longyearbyen, there's a little bit of different options here. So some of the sailings do have a 2 or it's an extra 3 days with a night in Oslo, and then going up, heading up to Longyearbyen. So in Oslo, there is a hospitality desk at the hotel where there will be a HX representative to share you information, to guide you to the airport and take you up to Longyearbyen. And then also there's a shorter 1-day program or pre-program, again taking you up from Oslo and with an included night in Longyearbyen. When you're in Longyearbyen for these trips, then they're on the day of embarkation. There's a check-in for your cruise at the hotel between 8 and 10 in the morning. And then the team, the HX representatives there will provide you with information, maps to guide you and coupons to provide you to let you do your own under your own steam and time to look around Longyearbyen. Then lunch back at the hotel if you wish, and then there are transfer buses to the ship between 4:15 and 4:45. But again, please make sure you're up to date with the current information. This is what we have right now, but again, this is we're some weeks out. The ship is planned to depart at 8 p.m. But again, this can change depending on weather, etc. But this is the plan, and we're keen to give you those indications. With the trips arriving back in Longyearbyen, again, we plan to be back around 6 in the morning. And again, the expedition team towards the end of the trip will provide you with that information towards the end of the trip. And Karin, you've spent so much time in Longyearbyen. What would be your top tip for our guests in Longyearbyen when they're doing their self-guided and have a look around?
I would do 2 things. I would go to Svalbard Museum. I think a fantastic introduction to Svalbard and the culture that have been dominating being a company town. but also it gives you a very good indication of both science and how important that is for Svalbard, but also a trapping culture, both from the Pomors and the Norwegians. And I would say the second thing is, if you just take a walk down to the dog yard, not quite out of town, but right at the town border, where you can see the eiders. They will be off their nests, but there will be this fantastic wetland right there in Adventdalen where you can see a lot of bird life. So bring out your binoculars and have a look, because the migration will then kind of start slowly going south again. So they are then having a pit stop right there in Adventdal. So those two things.
Yeah. No, and it's a perfect time of the season to go and do that and enjoy Longyearbyen. Anyway, we've talked about Reykjavik, we talked about Longyearbyen, we haven't actually talked about Greenland yet, and this is where we're going.
Yeah.
So of course, these fantastic, spectacular part of the Northeast Greenland National Park, where potentially, and at this time of year, incredible light, the mixture of ice, deep fjords, and if we're really lucky, maybe the odd polar bear. But one of the things you've asked us is, how do we get on and off the ship, and do we need to be worried? Do we have any concern? So we've got a short video here. It's filmed from Amundsen and Nansen, but we have exactly the same system and the concept on Spitsbergen and Fram. Oh, come on. Here we go. So on our ships, they're all purpose built, and they have these shell doors where, with a tender garage where the boats are stored. Some are on the deck on Fram, on the roof. But then we have a shell door creates a platform where our crew will help you on and off the boats. The boats are these two big inflatable chambers that allow you a sort of big bench seats to sit on. When we do our nature landings, you've got to be able to sit and spin your legs over the side of the boat, following the instructions of the crew. And you can see here the crew helping with a helping hand with bags and helping people off. You can also see in there, for reference later, our rubber boots that we will loan you, and we'll talk about that in a bit later. And of course, these are filmed in Alaska and in Antarctica. We do the same in reverse. Again, follow the instructions of the crew, making sure you get a good, we call it the sailor's grip coming off the boat. But on the first day, when you leave Longyearbyen or Reykjavik, before we do any activities, there will be a full safety briefing and how to get in and out of the boats from the team. So there's nothing to be concerned about, and you will become experts very quickly, because these trips to Northeast Greenland, there's a lot of off-ship activities with the boats every day when we're in Greenland. So yeah, fantastic. To be able to do that. But hopefully that settles the nerves of what getting in and out of the Zodiacs looks like. And as I said, exactly the same system on Spitsbergen and Fram. All our trips are built around having that sort of sense of purpose and meaning, and with a deep and rich science and education program. Verena, our chief scientist, who's put this together.
Yes, so we do want to offer all of you the best learning experience that you can get for all of the destinations that we bring people to. And for that purpose, we want to support the scientific community by offering our ships as platforms of opportunity. So they join our ships and collect data, samples, observations. At the same time, we provide you with the opportunity to interact directly with the researchers and learn about their work. We also have a team of amazing experts on board who will be lecturing and offering you on-hand activities around all of the interesting topics to be covered, like wildlife, geology, ice, and the interactions of all these topics. And we will also invite you to come and help us spot wildlife from deck, so that you will be busy running around the ship, attending lectures, also participating in art sessions at some point to decorate your water bottle, for example. And yes, learn as much as possible in many different ways. What we also do is that we contribute contribute to a number of citizen science projects, and we invite you to be a part of them. So if you want to prepare in advance, these are just some of the projects that we contribute worldwide that you could copy those links or follow those links. Alice on the background will create a screenshot and share that on the chat so that you have them available, so that you can start preparing if you want to participate in the science and education program through these citizen science projects. We have eBird, we have iNaturalist, Happy Whale, and the team on board will be more than happy to help you understand how this works. We also collect data for some projects, and we invite you to join us on our science boat to learn more about those projects and help us collect the data. You will be doing the data collection, sample collection yourselves. As I mentioned, guest lecturers, for these voyages to Northeast Greenland and East Greenland, we have a number of guest lecturers. On Spitsbergen, we will be hosting Geir Johnsen from the Norwegian University of Technology. He will be joining the August 19th departure, and he will be using our underwater drones to study the area, biodiversity in these fjords. Then from Polar Bear International, we will be hosting Brooke. She has developed an app and a citizen science project, and she is wanting to test that app with the help of our guests. So if you are interested on that, they want to study the interaction between tourism and polar bears. So a very interesting project to support. And on FRAM, also from Polar Bear International, we will be hosting Louis Archer, who is more interested in the interaction between decreasing ice conditions and polar bear health. So all of these projects very relevant to the areas that you will be going to. And as a special guest lecturer collection for the trip, the solar eclipse expedition on Spitsbergen, we will be hosting Raul, who is an aerospace engineer from NASA, Daisy, who is one editor at space.com, and Hans, who is a former astronomer and has guided over 9 total solar eclipses. So you will be surrounded by experts, and we will be setting up 4 telescopes on board the ship so that you can play with them, learn to use them, and Raul will make sure that he takes the most amazing pictures of the event to share with you so that you can just focus on the experience. We have also ordered glasses for all of you for the eclipse. So yes, we really hope, we are so jealous.
Yeah.
We really hope
Seriously.
that you will have an incredible experience. So yes, that is it from the science perspective.
Fantastic. And I think, seeing an eclipse is an amazing thing. And I remember the first one I saw, I had to use some photographic negatives as
Yes.
the glasses. But yeah, having these experts at hand and also the guest scientists really add that experience. Having professionals and experts, cutting edge science really, really does help. Okay, we're now going to do a little section on actually talking about Greenland, just to give you a flavour. I know, fellow explorers, you've already booked the trip, so you know where you're going. But just to give you a feel and some personal insights, the national park, Karen, it's I think where we'd all want to stay in a hut for a few months.
Yeah, just leave us there. Just don't come back for a while. It's of all the destinations we go to, this is my number one, and have been since the first year we went there. It is so untouched and so pure and so raw that when you sail there and there is no human interaction for days and days, you feel very small. but very mighty at the same time, because just being there, having the opportunity to see this landscape, this icescape, and everything else around it is a privilege, is an absolute privilege. When less than 10,000 people have seen anything or in the national park in modern times, that says something on what we are looking for. And for people like you, Tudor, with your geology fingers out everywhere, where because ice have kind of retreated not long ago, means that the geology is very bare and
Exposed.
raw and
Yeah.
exposed. Yes, exactly. So you can see all these dramatic happenings millions and millions of years ago, but right there in the open. And that's one of the things that are, and the color schemes there is absolutely amazing. So, and the fact that it's so hard to get there. The door opens for a few weeks every year, and then it closes again. So
Yeah.
so this is truly, truly a privilege. And then of course, as a, I mean, we've kind of been everywhere in the Arctic. As a Norwegian, our own trapper history there is super fascinating to me, at least, because it kind of says something about, we even annexed East Greenland for a while, and there are still voices in Norway that said we should have never let it go, but different story, different times.
Yeah.
It's good it's Danish.
Yeah. No, brilliant. And in terms of, infrastructure in Northeast Greenland, there is very, very little. The
If
Sirius
anything.
Patrol, which is an elite Danish unit, they do and conduct long-range reconnaissance patrolling along the whole coast. They were established in 1930 or 1933 were the beginnings, but in 1941 they really started because they came across a Nazi German hut on Clavering Island, where when you actually think about the location of East Greenland in terms of predicting and weather forecasting at the time, it really gave the precursor for crossing the Atlantic. So it was a real sort of key territorial destination to really understand weather systems and flying across the Atlantic, but also for the system. So anyway, the Sirius Patrol was established along the whole coast, where there's in the region of about 50 huts or depots covering 1,300 miles or 2,100 kilometers as the crow flies. But when as you enter the fjord systems, you realize that the coastline is even crazier than the Norwegian coast and goes on.
Definitely.
The Sirius Patrol at the moment actually consists of 6 sledge dog teams of 2 men. So
Each.
there's 2 men each, so 12 men, and each sledge dog team has between 11 and 15 dogs. And they tend now to do a year tour, and the temperatures in the winter can be, they say on average can be around minus 25 Celsius, minus 13 Fahrenheit, but can get as low as minus 50, minus 58 Fahrenheit. So really hardy bunch of people. And if we're lucky, we can see some of their depots and huts. So yeah, really, as part of the history of East Greenland, then part of the recommended reading will point you to a couple of books about the Sirius Patrol. But yeah, fascinating part of and many of the huts and also the trappers' huts, as Karen mentioned, really make the Sirius Patrol really special and a part of this area of just this amazing place. And then as we go a little bit further south, Karen, Scoresbysund, good place to get lost in a ship.
Yes, very much. Largest fjord system in the world. You can get lost if you want to get lost there. Again, sailing for days. However, you have Itokotormet here as the gateway settlement in Scoresby Sound. So they have left their mark in Scoresby Sound at different locations, like Sydcup, for example. But this is also an environment with towering mountains of 2,000 meters on both sides through a sound for miles and miles and miles, and an island kingdom inside the fjord system there, which have inspiring bird life and so forth. But we have to remember when we get into Scoresby Sound, in that sense, the people in Itokotormet have this as their main food supply area. So it means that quite a few of the species there are hunted in that area.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's oh,
Yeah. And I
gorgeous.
think we're showing these maps, and Greenland is massive island, and we're putting a little circle, but the scale, and that's as you said, Karen,
Yeah.
when you're there, you just
uh,
how small you feel, just the scale and the distances we're
yeah.
talking here.
Yeah.
Even on the ship, when we're traveling through the fjord systems, it is immense, and you do feel like a little pinprick.
Yeah.
But also you
And
get these.
it will be in this playing ground where the eclipse will be
Yes,
observed
Yeah.
in
it will be.
inside the Scoresby Sound. So yeah.
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Karen, you mentioned the Takatormit, and part of
Yeah.
the thing for all our guests is to be able to say it properly by the end of the trip. We'll give them to the end of the trip, so when they go home they can say Itakatormit.
Yeah.
And I think one of the special places, West Greenland is very special in itself, but this is like I would say not the only, but this is the settlement, as you said, the sort of gateway, and the whole area is their sort of their hunting grounds and playground that they know off the back of their hand. But a really rich, vibrant community, very, very proud, and being able to interact with people in the community, whether it be through football, which they're very keen on, or again, we have a community package where the locals will guide you around different aspects of the community to give you a real insight and understanding of what they do. But Karen, you've been there many, many times, and what's your sort of favorite parts and key takeaways for our guests to look at?
I think for Itokotormet is to sort of embrace the entire community package that they offer, because it all is kind of linked together. So they want to show you their pride and joy in that sense. And I think for me, at least, knowing people, knowing the people, and knowing the kids that I saw in 2010 are now grown-ups, and some of them have come back to Itokotormet, and I find that inspiring. Then, because they lost their airport and so forth, so their way of communicating and being, connected with the world has kind of deteriorated for them. But they are hardy people, and they are very connected. So those who really want to be in Etokotormet really, really love it there, and they dedicate their life there. And I think that's fascinating to me when I come back and I talk to Erling, or I talk to Nunuk, for example, and they said, "Oh, it's good winter." So I think that human relation is what, because they're super hospitable.
Yeah, that's good. And actually a question's just come in, which is, although we'll do a question and answer session at the end, I think it's quite good to take it now. In terms of, the question, Karen, is, should we take something to give to the community or the school or supplies? What's the I know what you're going to say, but tell us what as a guide for our guests.
There is a guide for our guests, and Greenland is a well looked after country in that sense, that they have what they need. But what I would like to kind of emphasize is that their provisioning for food and so forth is very scarce, meaning they only get a boat in there in the spring and one in September, and then they don't get any more supplies. They have a huge warehouse. So fresh goods. So what we do, what our guests will see, is that we will, from the ship, offload potatoes and fresh vegetables and so for the community that they share. But for the guests, it's not really necessary, except for do not buy a lot in their local supermarket. I would say kind of don't do that in Itikotormet, but if there are local artisans outside the museum, those, yes, please buy from them, because that is a very good source of income for them. But to go and take things from their supermarket is stressing their supplies. So just
Yeah.
keep
So in
that in
terms of
mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
supporting local artisans, but
Oh,
not taking money from the shops, and no, and they are
correct.
well supplied, and the schools are well supplied and supported.
Yes,
So you know, so there's
it's
no need
it's
to take
no,
pens,
no,
pencils, pads,
no, no, no,
but of
no.
course, if you do have something from your own community that you'd like to share, that's different. But
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
super welcome, super
yeah,
welcome.
yeah. And often in these communities, you know, we shouldn't judge because Itakatormit, most of the year is covered in snow and ice.
Mm, yeah.
And of course they're hunters, they're trappers,
Mm,
but they are real doers, real hard people. So
mm,
this is a kind of a common theme as you
mm,
walk out. And although we showed and we've got in here some pictures of sledge dogs, just be really wary of dogs. They are working animals. They're not like
yeah.
here in the UK where we pat them on the head and
No.
they're lovely. Um, but we're so just be wary of dogs. Pups are very, very friendly. And so by all means, if a pup comes up to you and starts going on its back and wants a tummy rub, then there's nothing
Yeah,
better.
that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's fine.
the actual dogs on chains, then
Not the
yeah, just
grown-ups.
just stay clear of them. I just had a message from Verena. She's frozen, but she's logging back in. So we will continue. There is, as Karen mentioned, you know, subsistence hunting is part of
Mm,
everyday life
mm,
in East Greenland.
mm,
So there is hunting, but there is plenty of wildlife still to be seen. But
mm,
do keep your eyes open, looking. Obviously, whales, bird life in certain areas is quite abundant, but you know the birds of prey, the eagle, you know, occasionally seen.
it's
Arctic,
not that. Yeah.
yeah, you know, fox, hare,
Mm,
and occasional muskox, but you know, again inland because
mm,
they tend to be hunted.
mm,
And of course, we talked about whales, but marine life.
mm,
You know, there you can see seals, but they tend to be very skittish. Those of us that
mm.
used to in the Galapagos or in Antarctica, where you have to more or less step over a seal sleeping in this area. If a seal sees somebody, it's gone. So you got to be pretty quick to do that.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
okay, Karen, on Fram and Spitsbergen, we there's quite active trips. Could you talk us through
It
what
is.
our fellow guests might expect for a day?
So a day on a 200 pax expedition ship is you start your day with a lovely breakfast, which our hotel team are preparing with love, and then you will have had a briefing the night before of what the plan of the day is, sort of the final plan. If that changes, that might change over the PA in the morning, where we say, okay, we planned this, but we're going here, which means that plan A, B, C, D are always in motion. We start either with a nature landing or a small boat cruising. So your morning will then be spent outside with mostly with the expedition team. You come back for a lunch. You might want to have a little bit of a lecture time just after lunch before we move on to a afternoon of, again, either a small boat cruising or a landing before you come back for dinner. So the days are hectic, and they are as hectic as you want them to be, let me say it that way, because the offer is there. If you want to jump one, you can do that, but it's always something going on. And you can choose to be part of that. And then as soon as your dinner is over, you have to go for the briefing for the next day so that you are prepped for the day to come. And then more lectures or
And I'd
storytelling
say
in the evening.
that's really important, because during the day,
Mm.
whilst the team are delivering the day's activities, they're
Mm.
also thinking ahead. Of course, we do have a plan
Of
A, plan
course.
B, but the discussions between the captain and the expedition leader in terms of, you know, nailing exactly what we're going to have the next day and timings, and they'll be presented to you in the evening. So really, really important to do to go to those briefings.
Yep.
We mentioned these are pretty active itineraries. So really, there's quite a lot going on. Whether it be the nature landings, the hikes, the cruising, the ship's cruising, very underrated, and of course when we head to Itakatormit, which we go to on all these sailings. But one of the questions we get quite a bit, Karen, is kayaking. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about kayaking? And welcome back,
So
Verena.
yeah, so kayaking in Greenland is naturally the home of the kayak. So on Fram, we can offer two types of kayaking experience. One, what we call discovery kayak, it's an inflatable kayaks, and the normal sea kayaks. On Spitsbergen, we have sea kayaking only, where you are guided. So the sea kayaking program is a guided tour where you go from A to B, and you have a sort of clear destination, and you then come back to the ship with the discovery kayaking as an additional offer on Fram. You can also do perimeter kayaking, is what we call it. So you are on your own with safety boats around you, but you are paddling sort of in between the ice scape and having more autonomy to your own kayaking.
Yeah. And again, you sign up for this activity on board, so no need to worry about it now. And you're briefed, and all the equipment's provided. So, but another great thing. Verena, I won't ask you questions until the end, just to save the stress. I know you're on your phone and trying to sort stuff out, so maybe the heat has got to your computer. So we'll carry on and keep on with that. When you receive your packing list, you'll get this extensive list of what to pack. So please do look at that. Layers are the key. Wool is the key. Temperatures, as we'll go through at the end, vary. So just really look at that. One of the things that people do tend to lose or can lose is your glasses if you lean over. So one of the latest additions to the packing list is a glasses retainer or strap. Binoculars are a very important part of any expedition, so very good to take. So please, if you've got a pair of binoculars, take them. If you want to invest in some, recommended, because these trips are really, being able to, one, from my point of view, see the different stratigraphy in the rocks, but also the wildlife, and talking to our ornithologists who are born with binoculars around their necks. Then the recommended magnification would be 8 or 10 times with an objective of 32 or 42 millimeters. And that gives you a comfortable part of really holding them steady and really being able to take in those. But again, if you've got a pair, take them with you. But really the one thing, if you ask the expedition team, majority of expedition team would say, don't forget your binoculars. Footwear is very important. Karen, we saw in the video about getting in and out Zodiacs, we saw the muck boots, the rubber boots, and we've got those in size 32 to size 50 European, which is like basically all foot size. But recommendations for footwear, because we do have some wet landings. We do hiking, and of course those that are in Longyearbyen for a few days before. There's a bit of time.
So, but if you do nature landings in nature pure areas, we do require you to wear the muck boots. They are great to hike in. I have hiked in them for about 20 years now, and they are a good support to your ankles and so forth, and they are quite light. So they also maintain then the most important objective of these boots is to do not take biomaterial with us from one location to the other. So they serve a very important purpose of not transmitting biomaterial and potential diseases or introduced species.
Absolutely. And those that want to take their own hiking shoes, then for areas where we're not doing nature landings, which are very few, but in all the landings are wet landings. But then having a really sturdy footwear, like a good hiking shoe or a lightweight hiking boot, very important. And also just that comfort on board the ship. You know, we Spitsbergen and Fram have fantastic outside deck space. So being able to go, that comfort of being able to go outside with and having a bit of grip on the deck, and also keeping your feet warm, important.
So it's very descriptive there in the down right corner about what kind of boots we're talking about.
Yeah. You are our guinea pigs because we've got a new video about the guest jacket.
Yeah.
So here we go. So all the jackets come in a cotton bag that can be used to store it, or as a linen bag, laundry bag. But yeah, slightly longer over the bum to keep you protected. If we have boat group patches, but yeah, incredibly comfortable. Place for your cruise card. In the newer version, there are some of the older ones still around. Showing you the features. So hopefully that gives you a good idea about the jackets. And of course, everyone is given a jacket for them for you to keep, and you'll get that on board. If the sizes that you've submitted are slightly wrong, there's a big stock on board, so you can change, no problem. Also given a water bottle. This is our special 130th bottle made always part of our partnership with Ocean Bottle. And yeah, make recycled plastic, doing as a bit of part of giving back to the environment. Also, before you go, please download the HX app, and then it is a new app this year. So if you've got the old one, you can delete it. This one, new, improved, based on your feedback, and you can also. A week before, you can also go into your account, so it's not just usable on board. So yeah, a week before, you can go into your account. Please make sure all your documentation is valid. Your passport must be at least 6 months valid after disembarkation. Please remember that you're going through Iceland, you're potentially going through Svalbard and also Greenland. Greenland is not in Schengen, but most guests don't require a visa. But please check based on your country of issue for your passport. You also must complete the ship manifest information form, which you will get as part of your documentation. And this is just sort of final check of your details. But if you haven't got it and you want to go into there now, then of course you can scan this QR code, and it will take you to the ship manifest information form. But you will also get it. Please, I know we'll get lots of questions, and we have had questions regarding seasickness. We are sailing either from Reykjavik across to Greenland, so we do have an open stretch of water, or from Longyearbyen, so we can have some choppy waters, but we do have on board doctor and nurse. We also have medical facilities. But Karen, in terms of you've become, as well as our Norwegian queen, or Viking queen, you've become our seasickness expert.
For some peculiar reason, guys. Yes, yeah. But yes, I've seen a lot of seasick people. So it comes down to being prepared. So if you're prone to seasickness, do take your first when you leave Reykjavik, or actually when we leave Svalbard, um, because when we go into the open ocean, you have a few hours to kind of prepare. Take your tablet then, because it has to be preventive. If you're taking the tablets after you get seasick, then the best thing is lie
Late.
down. Yeah, lie down. Don't eat tomatoes or and get a bit of Coke and crackers, because it stabilizes your stomach quite a bit. But if you try to be ahead of the curve, then take your Dramamine or whatever when we leave the last port before we go into the open crossing. And then you will be, and then take one every 12 hours until we get closer to shore again, and then you'll fine. You'll be fine. And you can also use other things.
When we hit the coast, then we're in protected waters. Yeah.
Exactly. Then you won't have any movement on the ship. No, exactly. It's only the crossing. Yeah.
Yeah. And Verena, in terms of mosquitoes, I know it's depending on the time of year. Are you okay to talk? I know you're on your phone.
I am on my phone. I'm so sorry. My computer died of the heat, I guess. But talking about mosquitoes, they will also probably have died out by the time you reach Greenland. So you will not be needing maybe the head nets and all of that. But if you are susceptible to mosquito bites, then we do recommend that you bring a product to use on yourself, or even wear long sleeves to protect you from mosquito bites. But again, there should be a lot less than in the heat of the summer.
Yeah, fantastic. One of the things at HX, we have a foundation which is very much giving back, and one of the projects we very much supported for many years, even before the foundation was formed, was the Greenlandic children with their big summer camp and keeping traditions going. So that's a way of giving back. But also at the end of it, towards the end of every trip, we will have an auction for the foundation. We also have a green stay program, so very much a way of giving back. In terms of the languages on board, it'd be English and German, or translated with German. Currency on board is euros. Local currency in Greenland is, of course, Danish krone. And Karen, in Itakotormit, how credit cards, cash, what should people take?
For buying art and things from local artisans, have cash. I would kind of do a recommendation of around $250, $300 mark in cash, in Danish cash, for buying things in Itokotormit, or to support the local economy there. So that's what I would do if I would go.
Fantastic. That's really helpful. And I know we've had some questions about the weather. What should we expect? All seasons in one day. But generally, this time of year, we're talking 5 to 15 degrees Celsius, which is 41 to 49 Fahrenheit. But the wind can have a big effect on reducing that effect on you. On board, temperature is very stable. Our engine control team really take pride in keeping it at 21 degrees Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit. And of course, one of the things now with Starlink, the connectivity is it's way too good. We used to go to Northeast Greenland and disappear, same as North Svalbard, but now we're connected. So you can connect home with WhatsApp, Messenger, etc., and keep up to date with the news. We talked earlier about reading the 2 books which really are specific to Northeast Greenland, are Against the Ice and also Sledge Patrol. And these tell the stories of that area and the wartime operation. And of course, in terms of the recommendations, very much having a good wildlife guide is always great. Wanderlust is a biography of this crazy guy Frauken, who was incredible history, including his first expedition, was in the not what is now the Northeast Greenland National Park, following in the footsteps of Mikkelsen. Polar War, very much a great book on the geopolitics of the Arctic right now. It's a very new book, so to be recommended. And also Greenland Uncovered is a very much a generic history. Okay, we've talked a lot. We've hopefully answered a lot of your questions as we've gone on, but we're going to bring in Alice, who's going to be our question master today, to ask us some of your generic questions. Alice, what has been the big
Buzz.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hi. We've had a few questions today. Thank you for the presentation. As always, it was very insightful, and you've answered majority of the questions that came in regardless. So that's always a good start. We have a few though that we can go over. There was some practical ones I thought we'd cover off first. Things like, beside the ship manifest form, is there anything else we need to complete for Greenland? And anything we need to bring with us to the ship, for example?
There's no need to do a medical, which many years ago we used to do a medical for Northeast Greenland. So, but there's no in terms of forms and paperwork, the ship manifest information form is the one. We mentioned it, but it just makes sure that if you are on prescription medicines, same as traveling anywhere in the world, then it's really good to travel with those in your hand luggage, just in case airlines misplace your bags in a different airport for a few days. So please, anything that is really that you can't be replaced, then get those. But it's ship manifest information form, only one.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Also, there's a bit of kind of HX stuff. So on board, do we tip, and what level of comfort and facilities can you kind of expect?
Tipping is included in the price, but of course the crew are also happy to receive anything more. But it's not an expectation. So very much, if you feel that you've had a really good level of service, which we hope we do give, then of course please do. In terms of bringing anything else, then say on board the ships there are two little shops that do provide. So there's the basics. You will see on the packing list waterproof pants, waterproof trousers. Then these are kind of essential, and you must bring those. Particularly for when we do landings and small boat cruising, because if your legs get splashed, then they can get cold very quickly. So that's a kind of an essential. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tudor. One for Karen, and I'm sure you'll know what park I mean when I say, how far in the park can we go?
How far can we go? This depends on the time we have. So for these expeditions that we have planned now, we can go quite far into Kaiser Franz Josef's fjord, and in that area, and that's deep into the park. North, the ice kind of stops us as we go to Claveringeø and further north. So we will focus on Kaiser Franz Josef Fjord and that area. And the picture I have in the background is from one of the largest glaciers in Kaiser Franz Josef Fjord, called Waltershausen Glacier. So this is Northeast Greenland, what you're seeing right behind me here. So we go deep.
And I think, which we try to get across is just the distances and the scale.
Huge.
It's huge. So so you could spend like a week just going down one fjord system and then coming back out, but it doesn't. It wouldn't give you the flavor. So the sort of nature of the itineraries are giving a good flavor of the different places. So the scale is impressive. Yeah.
We move over large distances actually every night, so it's for us to be able to cover Kaiser Franz Josef Fjord. Yeah, but the park is so much bigger.
Yeah.
But then if you have 2.5 months,
we'll join you.
And you can join the Sirius Patrol.
Yeah, take us with you.
Let's go with them on reconnaissance.
Exactly.
Do you think we'll
Thank
get
you.
that past the bosses? Can we just go and do a reconnaissance for a few months? No, I don't think
Not
so.
really.
There you
Yeah.
go. Perfect. Thanks, Karen. Also, it has been answered in the chat, but there are a couple queries about this, just about getting local currency. And I know we've mentioned it, but people are asking whether you get it in Longyearbyen or if it's better to pick it up elsewhere. So I know, Karen,
You
you had some insight on this.
Yes, you need to pick up your Danish kroner either at your the major airport from your own home country where they have these
Mm.
machines,
Yeah.
currency machines or currency offices, or if you are coming by Oslo, you can
There.
also get Danish kroner. But I would not recommend to be completely reliant on that in Reykjavik. If you're getting your Danish kroner, please try to get it before you leave home so that you are sure that you're not scrambling and unnecessary spending time on that when you should enjoying yourself after you arrive in your gateway port.
Thank you. That makes sense. We've gone over it a little bit, but just someone saying about the citizen science opportunities on the Eclipse cruise, specifically, Brenna. I don't know if you just want to go over that. Any insights on that?
Yes, so of course we will be supporting the same projects, citizen science projects that we offer throughout the Arctic season. But given the event, once in a lifetime event that you will be joining on that particular trip, we may focus more on providing opportunities for our guest lecturers to tell you about all the facets of an eclipse. Like, for example, if it happens to be overcast, then they will make you aware of how the shadows will develop, so that you can also follow the eclipse even through the clouds, and yes, so it will be a very special, very special trip, and our team will endeavor to still invite you out on deck watches to record seabirds and whales if they are around the ship, and also submit cloud observations, for example. And every time we are ashore, you can, by yourself, use the incredible iNaturalist app. Alice, you shared the screenshot, so people can download it. And this app is a community-based application where you submit your pictures, and based on the location and the number of submissions that have been done, it can suggest you what you are trying to identify, the species of any living creature. So you will get an instant gratification. If you don't know the name of the plant, you will get an idea. If you submit your data, the community will then confirm what you have observed or give you the correct identification. So it's a great way to learn and to keep track of all the things that you encountered during the trip.
And can I just add, especially in these remote places like Northeast
Yes.
Greenland, then putting stuff on iNaturalist is really valuable because the data sets there are
sparse.
so small. Yeah.
Yes.
So that crowdsourcing of information, really important.
It's very valuable.
Yes.
We're just over time. I just thought we'd end on a little nature one and maybe some weather. Essentially, someone's asking, what time does it normally get dark in this season? And also, how likely are we to see polar bears? Don't know who wants to take it.
Dark.
Karen?
Yeah,
Karen,
dark.
yeah.
In September, well, we start to lose daylight like almost 20 minutes per day by end of August.
Yeah.
That's when it starts to go really fast. So those who are going there in September or sort of from the August, September sort of crossing over, there is actually a chance to see northern lights, and we have seen it almost every year on those late trips. So that's quite fascinating. So you will have daylight during the whole day for all the trips, but it starts to get darker at
Darker.
night. Yeah.
Mhm.
When it comes to wildlife and polar bears in northeast Greenland, there is a good chance to be able to see the polar bear. But again, this is wildlife, right? So,
Yes.
you know, and we are in an area where the polar bear is hunted, so they are skittish for human, and they hear us before they see us. So, so I think there is a good chance, absolutely, but just to be on the lookout. And this is also why we are very keen on you having your binoculars with you, because that is the best opportunity for you to be on the lookout.
Exactly.
Wonderful. What an amazing trip you're all going to have.
Oh my God.
Oh,
After
yes.
which
God.
one? Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
even
yeah.
more. Yeah. Take me there now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just gonna round it off now because we've just gone over a little bit. Just want to say thank you, obviously, to the presenters as always. Fantastic. And also, we do have a feedback form. If people would mind filling that in, it will just pop up as this session closes. And I'm quite aware that we've got a couple of questions that we haven't answered or haven't had time to answer. If you do want to follow up with them, feel free to email HX Explorers team at TravelHX, and I'll personally find your answer for you. But yeah, apart from that, I think just have an amazing trip, and I'm sure everyone else agrees.
Welcome on board.
Yeah. Have a lovely trip. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Enjoy.